In the heart of the dazzling metropolis of Crystal Heights, there lived a young woman named Vanessa Sterling. She was the picture of privilege, residing in a sprawling estate filled with designer furnishings and priceless artwork. Her parents, titans of industry, showered her with everything money could buy, inadvertently molding her into someone who believed the world existed solely for her pleasure. Vanessa was undeniably striking. Her cascading auburn hair caught the light like fire, and her emerald eyes could captivate anyone who dared meet her gaze. She knew her power and wielded it without hesitation, using her beauty as a tool to bend others to her will. She rarely considered the feelings of those around her. Her days blended together in a haze of luxury boutiques, extravagant soirees, and the constant attention of admirers who orbited her like moths to a flame. Yet beneath this glittering exterior, something gnawed at her, an emptiness that no amount of designer handbags or champagne-fueled parties could fill. The hollow feeling inside her chest grew larger with each passing day. One afternoon, while browsing through an upscale gallery downtown, Vanessa noticed someone who stopped her in her tracks. His name was Daniel Morgan, and he was working as a gallery assistant. There was something distinctly different about him. He carried himself with quiet confidence, seemingly unbothered by her presence or her carefully cultivated allure. Intrigued by his apparent immunity to her charms, Vanessa became determined to capture his attention. She returned to the gallery repeatedly, each time dressed more provocatively, each time turning up the intensity of her flirtation. But Daniel remained the consummate professional, polite yet distant, never once crossing that invisible line she so desperately wanted him to breach. Her fascination with Daniel evolved into an obsession. She couldn't understand how anyone could resist her. Refusing to give up, she invited him to an exclusive charity gala she was hosting at her family's estate, certain that the romantic atmosphere would finally break through his defenses. Daniel accepted the invitation, but when he arrived, Vanessa's heart sank. He brought someone with him, a woman named Claire Bennett, his girlfriend. Vanessa felt as though the ground had shifted beneath her feet. Claire possessed an effortless natural beauty that required no elaborate styling or expensive makeup. But it was more than her appearance that struck Vanessa. Claire radiated genuine warmth and kindness. She was everything Vanessa had never been: humble, compassionate, and genuinely content with life. As the evening unfolded, Vanessa found herself watching Daniel and Claire interact. The love between them was unmistakable, built on a foundation of mutual respect, shared values, and deep emotional connection. For the first time in her life, Vanessa experienced true envy, not because someone possessed something material that she lacked, but because they had something her wealth could never purchase: authentic love and real happiness. The realization hit her like a wave, leaving her breathless. In the days that followed, Vanessa couldn't shake what she'd witnessed. She began to see her own life through a new lens. Her so-called friends were merely people who enjoyed her parties and her connections. Her relationships were superficial, built on attraction and transaction, rather than genuine care. She had surrounded herself with admirers, but she was utterly alone. Something fundamental shifted inside her. Vanessa started seeking out opportunities to volunteer at local community centers and food banks. At first, she felt awkward and out of place among people whose lives were so different from her own. But gradually, as she listened to their stories and contributed to causes that actually mattered, she began to discover a sense of purpose she'd never known existed. One evening at a community kitchen, Vanessa ran into Claire, who had been volunteering there for years. Instead of resentment, Vanessa felt admiration. Claire welcomed her warmly, impressed by Vanessa's transformation. She introduced Vanessa to more meaningful ways to use her resources and connections, showing her how privilege could become a force for good. rather than mere self-indulgence. Daniel occasionally joined them, and he too noticed the profound change in Vanessa. He began treating her as a friend, introducing her to activities focused on community building and personal growth. These experiences helped Vanessa understand what had been missing from her life all along: authentic human connection and a sense of contributing to something larger than herself. Over time, Vanessa and Claire developed an unlikely but genuine friendship. They bonded over shared volunteer work and long conversations about life, purpose, and what truly matters. Claire's different perspective on the world opened Vanessa's eyes to possibilities she'd never considered. Slowly but surely, Vanessa shed the persona she'd built over the years. The spoiled heiress who demanded attention gave way to a woman of substance who earned respect. She began using her family's wealth to fund scholarships and support local organizations. She traded her designer wardrobe for more practical clothes, and her exclusive parties for community gatherings. Vanessa discovered that true fulfillment didn't come from being desired or envied. It came from making a real difference in people's lives, from building relationships based on authenticity rather than appearance, and from pursuing purpose over pleasure. Her journey from a shallow, entitled socialite to a compassionate, grounded woman became something of a legend in Crystal Heights. People who'd known her before could hardly believe the transformation. But for those who witnessed her growth firsthand, Vanessa became living proof that it's never too late to change, that anyone can find their true self if they're brave enough to look beyond the surface. Vanessa. Sterling had finally found what she'd been searching for all along, not in the approval of others or the accumulation of things, but in the simple yet profound act of being truly, authentically human. And in that discovery, she found something more valuable than all the wealth in the world. She found real happiness.